WHA's half-year profit is up 24%, with plans to sell 1,000 ray of land in confidence in a fourth consecutive new high. Hello and welcome to Insight AI Brief Setai. Today we're going to talk about WHA stock, but before we get started, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into WHA Corporation Public Company Limited, WHA for short. This deep dive is built from, well, a stack of financial reports, analyst consensuses, corporate announcements, really designed to give you the insider's view without the information overload. Our mission here is to extract the most important nuggets about WHA's recent performance and its future outlook. So let's start with those headline numbers for the first half of 2025. WHA Group reported a normalized total revenue and share of profit of THB 9,325 million.
Yeah.
That's a whopping 32% increase year over year. And on the normalized net profit side, we're looking at THB 3,148 million. That's a solid 24% rise year over year. Maybe just quickly, what does normalized really mean for us here?
Yeah, good question. So normalized basically means they've stripped out any, unusual or one-off items, gains or losses that might skew the picture of their core business performance.
Okay.
So these numbers, they really show the strength of WHA's ongoing operations. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, well, this kind of robust performance really positions the company to potentially hit an all-time high profit for the fourth consecutive year, which is quite something.
Fourth year in a row. Wow, that's quite an achievement.
It is. The actual reported figures, by the way, are even a bit higher, but the normalized ones give that clearer operational view.
So it sounds like this isn't just one lucky break, but a collective effort across their different segments.
Exactly.
What are the specific engines of growth then? What's really driving this momentum within WHA?
You've hit on it. The solid performance is really down to strong growth across all 5 of WHO's core business hubs. You've got logistics, industrial development, utilities and power, digital and mobility.
5 hubs, okay.
Yeah, taking them one by one. The industrial development segment, it's seen tremendous tailwinds from consistent inflows of foreign direct investment, FDI.
Right, we hear a lot about FDI into Thailand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's pushed up land selling prices for WHA and kept land transfer volumes high. Just to give you a sense of scale, Thailand's investment board, the WHA, saw the total value of investment applications surge. It was up an impressive 138% year over year in the first half of 2025, reaching THB 1.05 trillion.
1.05 trillion. That 138% surge sounds like a real game changer.
It's massive.
Is that reflecting a broader shift? Maybe global supply chains moving towards Thailand, or is there something specific WHA is doing right?
It's definitely a bit of both. Thailand's appeal as a regional hub is certainly growing, but WHA's integrated ecosystem, having everything ready for these investors, that's particularly attractive.
Makes sense.
And that brings us nicely to their logistics business. Growth there is driven by a significant increase in rental area. And crucially, they recognize THB 808 million in revenue from selling assets into WHA. That's their REIT, their real estate investment trust.
Ah, so selling assets to their own REIT, that's a smart way to recycle capital, right?
Precisely. It unlocks capital to fuel more growth, plus they keep earning management fees. Very efficient.
So they're unlocking capital. How about utilities and power? Are they pulling their weight too?
Absolutely. The utilities water business saw continued robust growth. A notable 29% year-over-year increase in what they call value-added water sales.
Value-added water.
Yeah, think treated water, recycled water, specialized water for industrial processes. It's higher margin. And this growth was largely driven by new customers starting up operations. What's interesting, too, is that in Q2, they also recognized THB 84 million in one-time charges from some big customers who used more water than their allocation.
Oh, interesting. So benefiting from high demand in multiple ways.
You got it. And in the power business, an 18% year-over-year increase in solar energy sales in the first half of 2025 really contributed positively to the overall results.
Solar power, okay, that fits the renewables trend. And what about their newer segments, digital and mobility? Are they starting to kick in yet?
Yes, they are. These newer digital and mobility businesses are definitely starting to contribute. They represent a strategic move into high-growth areas. It really shows WHA's forward thinking. It's not just about traditional industrial parks anymore. They're building out this much broader, integrated ecosystem for the future.
That vision for the future brings us neatly to their strategic plans. Looking ahead, the CEO, Mrs. Jericorn Sokol, she seems quite confident.
Very confident.
What's her take on the broader economic picture that's influencing WHA's plans?
Yeah, she's expressed strong confidence in Thailand's economic outlook, even with all the global challenges floating around. Her view is that Thailand's strategic location, its integrated supply chain hub, reliable energy, including renewables, and skilled workforce, are all key magnets for that foreign investment we talked about.
Right.
She expects more growth in the second half of 2025, so she sees a pretty robust environment for them.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. You mentioned a big land sale target earlier. What are the specifics around that 1,000 rate?
Right, so WHA has concrete plans to sign land sale contracts in the second half of this year. We're talking major players from electronics, electrical appliances, automotive parts manufacturers.
Big industries.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And these deals collectively total more than 1,000 ray of land. To give you a sense of scale, 1,000 ray is about 1.6 million square meters, or roughly 400 acres. It's substantial. And this isn't just, pie in the sky. In Q2 2025, they already signed a huge land purchase agreement with Beijing Haiyang. They're building what's set to be the largest hyperscale data center in ASEAN, valued at THB 72.67 billion.
72 billion. That's a massive deal.
Yeah.
Really cements Thailand's digital infrastructure role, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a huge win, a real landmark project.
And what does all this, the 1,000 ray target, the Haiyang deal, what does it mean for WHA's pipeline of future business?
It means very strong, sustained demand. As of Q2 2025, WHA has a solid backlog of 1,467 ray pending transfer.
Okay, so that's land already sold, just waiting for the paperwork, basically.
Exactly. Deals signed, waiting for handover. And then there's an equally impressive pipeline of 1,427 ray in letters of intent, LOIs, and memoranda of understanding, MOUs.
So strong interest, deals in negotiation.
Absolutely. It reflects incredibly strong interest and gives a clear trajectory for future revenue from land sales.
Okay, beyond the immediate future, WHA has set some, pretty ambitious long-term goals. They're looking at a significant revenue increase over the next 5 years. Can you unpack that bold vision for us?
They are indeed aiming high. The company is targeting a total revenue of THB 150 billion over the 5 years from 2025 to 2029.
150 billion. How does that compare to now?
Well, it represents a remarkable 2.9-fold increase from their 2024 projected revenue of THB 14.4 billion, so nearly tripling revenue in 5 years.
That is ambitious. How are they planning to fund that?
They're allocating a hefty investment budget over THB 119 billion, but importantly, they're aiming to do this while keeping their net debt-to-equity ratio below 1.2 times, which is a common threshold for prudent leverage.
Right.
Their whole vision is kind of encapsulated in their motto, WHA, we shape the future.
Okay, we shape the future. It's bold. And they've clearly got specific plans for each business hub to try and achieve this. Can you give us the highlights for how each segment is contributing?
Sure, let's break it down. For logistics, they're planning a massive expansion, aiming to manage over 3.3 million square meters of assets by 2025. They're adding 200,000 square meters of new leasable space and selling about 70,000 square meters of leasehold rights to their REIT, WART, for about THB 1.5 billion.
More capital recycling there.
Exactly. Plus, new projects underway in Thailand total over 380,000 square meters. And their first logistics center in Vietnam is apparently seeing strong interest. They're also upgrading their subsidiary, WGCL, from a 3PL, a third-party logistics provider, handling basics like storage and transport, to a 4PL, a fourth-party logistics provider. That means offering more comprehensive, strategic management of entire supply chains, becoming a total logistics solutions provider.
So moving up the value chain in logistics, what about industrial development?
In industrial development, the target is 2,350 ray in land sales across Thailand and Vietnam for 2025. Big focus on attracting that FDI in high-tech, automotive, electronics, that sort of thing. They have 7 projects under development in Thailand, totaling almost 9,000 ray, including a massive new one, WHA Eastern Seaboard 5, over 5,000 ray itself. First land transfer expected early 2026.
Wow, huge scale. And Vietnam?
In Vietnam, they already have over 3,000 ray developed and 3 additional projects planned for 2025-2026, adding another 300 to 300 rays or so. Big regional ambitions there.
Definitely sounds like it. And utilities?
Yeah.
Water specifically?
For utilities, water, the 2025 target is total water sales and management of 173 million cubic meters. Most of that, 132 million from Thailand and 41 million from Vietnam. And that focus on high value-added water continues. The target is 10 million cubic meters just for that segment. Again, pushing towards more specialized, profitable solutions.
Okay, they're clearly looking to be at the forefront of energy innovation too, right? What are the plans for power, digital, and that mobility segment?
That's right. In power, WHA aims to significantly increase its cumulative signed power capacity to 1,185 megawatts by 2025. And a big chunk of that, 657 megawatts, is targeted to come from renewable energy sources, mainly solar.
Over half from renewables.
Oh, yes. They expect over 100 megawatts of new projects currently under construction to be finished by the end of 2025. And they're also looking into, they call new S-curve businesses, things like small modular reactors, SMRs, basically compact nuclear power plants.
SMRs. Okay, that's cutting edge.
Definitely. Also, battery energy storage systems, BESS, for grid stability, and carbon capture, utilization, and storage, CCUS technologies. Big pivots towards future energy and sustainability.
Very forward-looking. How about digital?
For digital, they're pushing hard on transforming into a tech-driven organization. Using AI, IoT, they have 12 AI transformation projects underway, things like drone inspection solutions, an IOX platform for solar monitoring.
Practical applications of tech.
Exactly, and they're developing new platforms like Mobilix software solution for EVs and batteries. They're targeting 900 vehicles using that platform by 2025. Their own internal app, WhatsApp, has over 1,500 users and just launched a feature called CO2 for carbon footprint management. So blending digital innovation with sustainability goals.
And Mobilix, the mobility brand itself. You mentioned EVs.
Yes, under the Mobilix brand, WHA aims for over 1,700 EVs available for rental in 2025. With a really ambitious target of 20,000 EVs in service within the next 5 years, they're clearly building out an integrated EV ecosystem specifically for logistics.
20,000 EVs, that's a serious commitment to green logistics.
It is. And speaking of green, beyond the financials, WHA has made significant sustainability commitments. They're targeting net zero emissions by 2050. Their 2029 goals include those 20,000 EVs, hitting 1,200 milliW of renewable energy capacity, which they expect will cut GHG emissions by almost 700,000 tons of CO2 equivalent annually, plus goals for reducing water consumption and implementing zero waste management. It's a very comprehensive approach.
Okay, so incredibly ambitious plans, strong recent performance. What are the financial institutions, the analysts, the investors saying about WHA's stock price? Is the market buying into this bold vision?
The crucial question. Looking at the IAA consensus from late July, early August 2025, we see a range of price targets. On the high end, you've got firms like FSSIA and PI. They're quite bullish, with targets around THB of 5.30 to 5.4. That suggests an upside of nearly 50% to over 52% from recent prices. Both recommend buy.
50% upside, wow. Others bullish too.
UOB KHST also has a strong target of THB 4.8, suggesting around 35% upside. So yes, definitely some strong optimism there.
Okay, so a good number of analysts are quite positive. What about the middle ground?
In the mid-range, you have institutions like Uwanta, TNS, KGI Securities. Their targets are more around THB 4.1 to 4.2. Still indicates a healthy upside, 14% to maybe 21%, generally with buy or outperform ratings. KGI, for instance, has THB 4.0 and calls it outperform.
Right, but you said a range of views, so there must be some caution too.
Exactly. It's important to note it's not uniformly positive. On the lower end, LHS has a trading buy, but actually implies a slight negative upside, minus 1.7%. And then KTX and BLS are even more cautious, with underperform market and sell recommendations, respectively. They see negative upsides of around 13% to 15%.
Okay, so definitely a mix. Optimism seems to outweigh the caution, but there are certainly voices advising restraint.
Precisely. It's a mixed bag, though, leaning towards growth potential.
That mix of views is important context. What's the current market price for WHA stock? Just for reference.
Right. As of August 9, 2025, the stock closed at THB 3.54. It was actually down about 2.2% on that particular day. So that 3.54 level is the baseline for thinking about those target prices.
Got it. Okay, beyond the price targets, what about things like WHA's dividend policy and other key financial health metrics, PE ratio, EPS, PBV? Why should our listener care about these numbers? What do they tell us about the company's underlying strength and value?
Great question. These metrics give you a much deeper look at the company's financial health, its valuation, and how it rewards shareholders. Let's start with dividends. WHA actually has a pretty compelling dividend yield. Financia estimates it at 6.1% for 2025. KGI projects it even higher, 6.9%.
Nearly 7% yield. That's quite attractive, especially in today's market.
It really is. It shows a strong commitment to returning value to shareholders. Remember, they hit a record high normalized profit in 2024, and the CEO has hinted at potentially increasing dividends going forward.
That dividend yield definitely looks good for income investors.
Yeah.
But are there any, potential challenges to sustaining that, given those huge investment plans they have?
That's always the balancing act, right? Investment versus shareholder returns. But their strong operational performance and financial management are key here. Look at earnings per share, EPS. Financia estimates THB 0.34 for 2025. KGI projects THB 0.35. Continued profitability is expected, which supports that dividend outlook.
Okay, so profits are expected to hold up. What about valuation? Is it expensive?
Well, let's look at the price to earnings, or PE ratio. Both Financia and KGI see it around 9.9x to 10.0x for 2025 earnings. Now, PE ratios vary by industry, but generally around 10x for a company with WHA's growth prospects. That's often considered quite reasonable, potentially even attractive, not overly expensive.
So potentially good value based on earnings. How about compared to its assets?
That's where the price-to-book value PBV ratio comes in. Financia estimates 1.4x for 2025. KGI puts it at 1.3x. Again, suggests the market isn't valuing it wildly above its asset base. Now, a really crucial one, especially with those big investment plans, is the net debt to equity, net DE ratio. This measures their financial leverage, how much debt they have relative to shareholder equity.
Right, always important to watch debt levels.
Absolutely. KGI's 2025 estimate is around 117.6%, or 1.176x, which is slightly up from 2024. But WHA's own guidance aims to keep it below 1.2x. But here's the kicker. The CEO mentioned a planned spin-off of their industrial estate business, WHA, for a separate listing on the stock exchange.
A spin-off. How would that impact the debt?
Massively. She stated this move is expected to slash WHA Group's net DE ratio from the current 1.2x down to less than 0.7x.
Wow, almost having it.
Exactly. That would significantly boost their financial stability and really free up capacity for further investment without over-leveraging. A very strategic move.
So that spin-off is key to managing debt while funding growth. Makes perfect sense.
Precisely. It's all about financial flexibility. Then you look at EBITDA margin, that's operational profitability. Their guidance for 2025 is over 45%. But get this, in 2024, they actually hit 58%, blew past their 40% target, shows really strong operational efficiency.
58% margin is impressive.
It is. And finally, return on equity, ROE, how well they generate profit from shareholders' money. Estimates are around 12.8% to 14.1% for 2025. Solid returns.
Okay, so the financial metrics seem pretty solid overall, especially with that potential spin-off de-risking the debt situation. Let's try and visualize this. What does the stock chart tell us about WHA's recent journey?
Okay, looking at the chart. As we mentioned, the closing price on August 9, 2025 was 3.54 THB. It had a slight drop that day, 2.21%. The daily range was tight, 3.52 to 3.60 THB. But if you zoom out to the 52-week trading range, you see significant fluctuation. The low was way down at 2.26 THB, and the high was up at 6.20 THB.
2.26 to 6.20. That's a huge swing. Indicates considerable volatility over the past year then.
Definitely. A lot of movement.
I remember the CEO mentioning something about a panic sell earlier this year. Maybe that explains some of that volatility. Does that show up clearly?
Yes, it certainly does. Back in February 2025, the stock experienced what was called a panic sell. It led to a sharp drop, over 20% quite quickly. Mrs. Jaraporn, the CEO, addressed it directly at the time. She basically emphasized that investors should look at the full year results, the bigger picture, not get too caught up in quarter-to-quarter swings.
Right, because their business cycle is longer term.
Exactly. She pointed out WHA isn't like a consumer goods company where quarterly trends are always smooth and linear. Industrial development, logistics deals, they can be lumpy. The charts we've seen illustrate this. They show WHA's performance both in absolute terms and relative to the S18 index. Over the past 12 months, there's been an absolute decline of about 34%, and it underperformed the benchmark index by about 27%, despite some recovery recently.
So even with strong fundamentals and future plans, the stock itself has faced some significant market headwinds and volatility over the last year.
That's a fair summary, yes.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Well, WHA Group is clearly demonstrating robust financial performance. It's driven by strategic expansion across its quite diverse business segments. They've got ambitious plans, substantial investments lined up for long-term growth. Now, while analyst views on price targets offer that mixed bag some real optimism, but also some caution in the core financial metrics, they suggest a company with pretty solid foundations and potentially attractive valuation. And this really raises an important question for you to consider, thinking beyond just the stock price. How might WHA's strategic focus on things like green mobility, on sustainability, and its huge investments in industrial infrastructure across Thailand and Vietnam, how might that reshape the regional economic landscape in the coming years? It's about their broader impact, not just the share price movements day to day. Something to think about.
Absolutely. Finally, if there are any other stocks you'd like us to cover in a future deep dive, please do let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support our team. Thank you for tuning in.